Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at everyone's favorite Daria. So I thought, why not, let's go crazy, balls to the wall with this deck and really show off what it can actually do. So a lot of people will complain that this deck is quite overpowered, and in some senses it definitely is. I mean, the 4 health stat line is the bigger problem overall than anything else in this deck, especially since we don't have any decent AoE to clear that, and Senpai goes over that pretty clearly in his video if you want to check that out over on the Shadownexus, which is pretty easy to find. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this. It does show off some really good curves at least, although you got to take the good with the bad, and unfortunately Daria is one of those decks that when it does brick, it bricks hard. So hopefully you guys enjoy it and we'll get right into it. So, first up is a Shadowcraft. Daria vs Shadow is always pretty okay. I mean, you can usually take them out pretty easily. And starting off with Daria in her hand and a 1 and 2 drop spell is absolutely perfect, especially when the 1 drop spell is Insight. Insight is an amazing card to go into your opening play, so why not? And Ogla to follow that up as well fits really well. So this is where you get basically close to an ideal hand. You start off with an amazing opener, get some super good cards, you can set up your Wind Blast, you can set up a future Insight, you know, all those cards, and get a little bit on board. Of course, with this Wind Blast and this Insight, we're actually going to see some interesting stuff, especially since we did also draw the Mysterious Knowledge, which could work pretty well. And shine. We get to ping a couple of damage to their face. Already Ogla's at 1 and Daria's at 5, and it's only turn 3, so this is what you call probably one of the best hands you can nearly have. Especially when you get something like Circle. So it's just a matter of deciding what route you want to go down a lot of the time. Sometimes I do decide just to go for my draw and take it. Especially when you can draw stuff like Chimera and Flame Destroyer that we're probably going to chuck anyway, but it's not half bad. I was more aiming for some spells. The Ogla does get to stick, which is always a good thing when you can stick an Ogla to the board. Mysterious Knowledge, getting us another Circle. I actually don't mind Circle too much. A lot of people don't like it, and I can see why. I mean, it's definitely not as good as the other one, but it's definitely not bad either. I think it's still a pretty solid 2-drop card. It's a little bit better than Conjure Golem, which is nice.
You're done for.
And you get 5 damage to the face with a stacked board. See, I think that's the only big problem. Like, you see the 4, 6, and 5 health. How does any craft really deal with that this early in the game? Dragon's the only one with a major counter to this deck in rotation at the moment. Even though other crafts like Portal can deal with it pretty reasonably. I mean, Portal vs Daria usually is pretty close, at least in my situations I've been in a lot of the time. I find Burn Rune can also be quite okay as long as Daria doesn't go completely nuts, and then on top of that you've got Forest, which is just kind of awkward, I think. Otherwise, Sword and Blood are pretty much always in Daria's favour. Can't really think of any time that's not the case. And then that only really leaves the Dragon and Haven, which Haven definitely I think is in Daria's favour still, and Dragon definitely in Dragon's favour if you're running the right kind of Dragon deck. Of course, not every deck is going to work the same, so I mean, just saying a whole class is out isn't really a fair statement to make in most cases. But with not too long to go, I mean, we've got the expansion right around the corner at this point. I'm sure you won't see too much Daria left.
Unbelievable! So
we are going up against a Dirt Rune, which is pretty evident by what they've played so far. We've basically just been kind of stacking whatever we can now, so it's working okay. We get a few spells off, which is nice. And we happen to get a Missile, which can work really well against the Dirt Rune matchup, especially when they drop things like Halo Golem here. But the Owl and the Clark are just so good. I mean, just look at those things. It's way too much value to just leave there.
You're done for.
You definitely want to get those out as soon as possible. So 1-drop Daria.
Magic is
Pretty reasonable to play off.
gaze into the light.
When Chimera and Clark are both going to be super good, we
You're done for.
should nearly be able to play most of this hand out and clear off this board, hopefully.
How interesting.
Unfortunately, the Flame Destroyer is definitely not the best draw.
Are you defying me?
And I accidentally played the library like that, I think mainly because I really wanted the spells next turn over the Daria. I was debating on whether Scholar was the better choice, but really getting a 2-3 on board instead of drawing more spells, I think drawing the spells is just slightly better. And we also get the Ogre and Blade Mage, which allows us to stack the board even further. So those were more just pretty good luck overall.
It won't be long now.
Especially sending 4 damage to the face.
Unbelievable!
I've actually taken a liking to the Enchanted Library, it's quite a solid card. And of course, we do get rats, which a little bit of a nightmare, honestly.
Unbelievable! Unbelievable!
The only difference is, though, we can actually pretty much go for the lead at this point.
Unbelievable!
I mean, the rats put us ahead in damage, so all we have to hope is that they can't somehow deal 6 damage this turn. And we should be able to pretty much take this. So we decided to go for Piercing into a Halo Golem. It's not quite enough, although it is very close. If only Piercing Rune cost 1, they would still probably have enough to do something. Of course, the Earth Essence. And with that, we can easily use the Blade Mage and these rats to close out the game. We also could have went with the Mysterian Missile, that would have done the job just the same, honestly.
Impressive. Looks like you
So we actually had a few nice outs there. And following that one up, another Shadow matchup. Shadow seems to be becoming a little more popular again. It definitely had dropped off majorly. You definitely weren't seeing Shadow anywhere near as much in the first couple of weeks. Now we're seeing it a little bit more. At least as of making this video, after all, these are all made reasonably in advance. So we start off with a pretty solid hand. I always love the 1 to 2 drop into a couple of spell boosted followers. They always seem to work out well, and getting the Mysterian Missile is actually pretty good too. Because I can pretty much abuse that turn 3, or maybe even turn 4 now that we've got Clark instead. Wow, see, Ogre, Blade Mage, Chimera. That's just crazy to have boosted all in one turn. Especially with another Blade Mage, so just luck of the draw really. If we had have drawn poorly, it would have been really a nightmare. Getting those few lucky draws in those last couple were really good. Now that we can easily clear this while dealing some damage, we're not really in a position that we need to worry. So we can get at least 4 damage here. If we throw the Blade Mage onto the board and go face.
Playtime starts now.
Time to head home.
I am Belinus the Shining.
So we can ping that with Magic Missile. Still pretty reasonable, especially considering our Chimera, Ogre, Blade Mage, and our Scholar here. Which also sets up a next turn Chimera if we need it. In turn 5, Shadow's not dealing with this. That's pretty evident. That makes this match go pretty quickly. So, of course, this wasn't all my matches. I had about 4 other matches that just bricked hard and went nowhere, so it's definitely still a very 50-50 deck on whether you can get a good hand or get a bad hand.
You're so fresh.
At least that's the feeling it gives as a player. If you're playing against it, it definitely would feel unfair. I can definitely see why people think that it would be unfair that way, but I think once you start playing it and realize that one of its biggest weaknesses is its consistency, then it's really not that bad.
You play
Outside of course the 4 health problem, but that's a problem with everything, not just Daria in particular. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I know Daria is not everyone's favourite deck, but I know that at the same time, while everyone doesn't like a certain deck, there's also a lot of people that do. So this is for you guys. Hopefully enjoy it. Hit the like button again. And basically hang out. I mean, we haven't got much longer till the next expansion, so I'll catch you guys then. See ya.